Hi, Matt with etrailer, and today we're going to be talking about the XC2 Bike Rack on the back of our 2022 Nissan Rogue. Now this is going to be a great option for you if you're looking for something that's more on the entry level and is really easy to store. So let's take a closer look at how it fits back here. So the first thing I want to point out is how close it is sitting to our car today. Now we do have a mountain bike with some longer handlebars, but as you can see, if you're on a bumpy road, you're going to be likely to make contact with that back window. So two things to say about that is, if you have a road bike, you should be fine. But if you do have a bike with longer handlebars like we do have today, I'd recommend just putting on a pool noodle, and it should reduce the likelihood of any damage happening. And next up, I want to point out these pedals. As you can see, right here we're not making any contact. If you're on that bumpy road, you're probably not going to make contact, just be cautious of it. But if you have this all the way down, this will be making contact with your bumper. Now this rack is going to have a weight capacity of 35 pounds per bike, holding up the two bikes. So it's great if you have your standard bikes, but if you want to put anything heavy like an e-bike, this isn't the bike rack for you. Now if you want to take a closer look at your hatch access, we're going to have to take our bike off because this rack doesn't have a tilt-away feature on it. So to start off with that, I like to remove these hooks completely off. That's definitely one of the bonuses of this rack is some racks you can't remove these hooks completely. So it just makes everything a little bit more of a hassle. And you'll notice we have only one point of contact, and that's going to be directly on our frame. So if you have any carbon or alternative frame bikes, that might be a little bit harder for you to use on here, or if you don't want to scratch up your paint job. Another trick too, with it like this, is just pulling this pin on the bottom. So it's completely out of the way. You can lower the center mass. Now taking off your bike is a lot easier. And now I can go hit the trails. Now you'll notice we do have those loops at the bottom, and they do have knobs next to them, and you can slide them up and down these trays to accommodate different wheelbases. Just like this. Sliding up and down. Now, like I said earlier, you will have hatch access now in this position. If you do have it like this, just make sure you put this pin back through here to lock this in place. And this is going to be great if you have any groceries you need to gain access to, or if you need to access your gear too for your ride. This is actually the preferred way I'd recommend driving with it. Now you can fold it up into another position, and this is going to be better for storing it because it's going to take down a lot of the width. So as you can see, I'm putting that mass back up here, but I'm also going to put these legs up here too with those cradles. And so as you can see, on the back of your car, it's okay, but it's way better if you plan on storing it like this. Now we can get some measurements on how this is going to sit back here. So, going from our back bumper to the back of the cradle, that's going to be about 18 inches, which isn't bad at all. Just something to be mindful if you're in a tight spot like a parking spot or garage, but 18 inches isn't bad at all for a 2-bike carrier. And for our ground clearance, that's going to be a little bit over 13 inches, which isn't too bad because how close it sits to our car. Now, if you do have one of these cradles in the lower position, as you can see, it sits below where that shank is. So definitely keep that in mind. I'd recommend keeping it up above that so you don't even have to worry about it at all. Now, if you do plan on driving with it in this position, it is going to block a few things. It's going to block your license plates and backup camera. You'll still be able to use your backup camera around here or on the other side, but I'd recommend relying on your mirrors. And your taillights and back window won't be obstructed. Now, if you have this in the flat position, it's not going to block anything. So again, I'd recommend storing it like that on the back of your car if you're driving. And finally, how it's going to install. So, we're going to have this 1.25" shank with this 2-inch sleeve adapter on it, and that's going to go into your 2-inch hitch receiver. And we're going to have this 3/4 inch anti-rattle bolt that goes through and connects to a safety clip on the other side. The anti-rattle bolt's going to prevent a lot of the rattling from occurring. But of course, we're always going to have a little bit of rattling up here since we do have pivot points. So overall, I think this is going to be a solid rack for you if you're just getting into biking, or if you want something that's really easy to store too. Now, if you're looking for something that's going to be a little bit more stable than this, since this only has one point of contact, I'd recommend the Hollywood Rack's Destination 2 Bike Rack. It's going to have 3 points that secure your bikes down, and it's a very secure fit. But if you don't really mind not having that secure of a fit, then this will do you just fine. If you liked everything you saw today, that's just a look at the Swagman XC2 Bike Rack in the back of our 2022 Nissan Rogue.
This is our test course. Let's start with the slalom. This shows side-to-side action, such as turning corners or evasive maneuvering. Then, onto our alternating speed bumps. This shows twisting action, such as hitting curbs, potholes, road debris, or even uneven pavement. Last of all, the solid speed bumps. This shows up and down action, such as driving through a parking lot or parking garage, or driving in and out of a driveway.